What's going on out there? I just want to talk real quick about depression. Depression, if you have depression, if you've been clinically diagnosed with depression, or you feel depressed most of the time or even sometimes, I want to share some information for you to possibly consider. I came across a video of one guy who's talking about depression and how depression is not real, and it's not like, he doesn't believe in the idea of like a chemical imbalance in the mind, and he believes depression is basically a feeling. And it just led me to do some further research and to kind of just dig in a little bit deeper to find out what this guy was talking about and to try to make sense of any of these things. And I can't talk much on it because I'm not depressed. So if people are genuinely, truly in that state, I can't speak on it because I don't know. But what I can say is, when it comes to our emotions, I know that in the times of my life that I felt depressed, it wasn't so much about a feeling that came upon me out of nowhere. It was usually something that had to do with something like a loss, some kind of pain, some kind of rejection, something that I was going through. Maybe I was financially not in a place where I wanted to be. And those are the times that I can remember that I was depressed or felt depressed. I heard a quote that says a lot of people are not depressed, they're just broke. I came across a book called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, a book that basically is a conversation between him and the devil.
Start by telling me where you live, then describe your physical appearance.
I consist of negative energy, and I live in the minds of people who fear me.
Go ahead and describe your clever tricks, Your Majesty.
One of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people, and as these seeds germinate and grow, through use, I control the space they occupy. My favorite physical dwelling place, as I have told you, is in the minds of the earthbound. I control a part of the brain space of every human being. The amount of space I occupy in each individual's mind depends upon how little and what sort of thinking that person does.
In the beginning of the book, the devil talked about the ideas that he has, and he comes into people's lives and he gives prompts. And I know a lot of you people out there may not, believe in the devil, or we have to admit that there's an evil force out there. Whether it's the devil, whether it's a satanic force, whether it's whatever it is. But we have to believe that there are thoughts that come to our minds that are not of us. If you can project all of your thoughts onto a screen in a room full of people, the thoughts that you had for the entire week, you would not stay in that room. You would leave and you would run. And in fact, you would run and try to remove the video from being played, because you understand that there are things that you thought about that are not of you. There are things that you thought about that if seen or if known or someone heard about what it is that you were thinking about, you'd probably be in prison. Or you would just be cast out. So the thoughts that we had in our minds to do certain things, where did those thoughts come from? The actions that we've involved ourselves in that got us in trouble, how were we feeling during those times? If you think about every emotion that exists, the emotions that we experience, whether it's sadness, loss, hurt, when you're angry, what do? You respond through anger. You respond because you're feeling emotionally drained. You respond in a way when you're feeling jealous. You respond in a way when you're feeling an emotion. Deep emotions cause us to do something that we don't necessarily want to do, or may not be the right thing to do, right? So when you're experiencing deep emotion is when those voices come, when those thoughts come to do these things. And like I said, call it the devil, call it evil spirit, whatever it is. The time that thing comes is when you're at your lowest, is when you're feeling these emotions. Because the idea to go do something bad doesn't necessarily come to you if you're happy. I'll give you an example. All the times in the past relationships that I've been in, when I've gotten into a fight with my partner and, we were both upset about something, that's probably the only time things came into my mind of doing things that weren't the best thing to do, when I was angry, right? There are times when I was downcast or hurt or rejected. And these are the times in which I felt to do something that I wouldn't naturally do. These are thoughts that are not naturally living in my mind, but the only time that those things were coming is when I was feeling a deep emotion. So that's when this enemy, that's when this spirit, that's when this devil, that's when this demon, that's when whatever you want to call it, that's when this thing comes into our lives to prompt us to do certain things. That's what I truly believe. The devil, the spirits have no power over us. They don't have any power over us, but they come into our lives and it'll be like a little whisper, right? We can hear intuition, the good subconscious, giving us a whisper of what we should do. Your subconscious wants you to be alive. Your subconscious wants you to be alive and healthy more than you want to be alive and healthy, right? It's your subconscious movements, your subconscious thoughts. For example, if you're running down a block and you trip, right? Suddenly, what are you gonna do? You're gonna extend your arms and you're gonna try to catch yourself and prevent your face from hitting the ground, right? That's not you consciously. It's your subconscious. If someone pushes you and you fall back, automatically your hands are gonna try to protect you and try to grab whatever it is that's around you, because your subconscious is trying to keep you alive. Your subconscious is what's keeping your heart going right now. You have no control over that. Your subconscious wants you to live. Your subconscious is what gives you the prompts, the intuition, the feeling that this is probably not a good idea. You probably shouldn't go down that block. Subconscious. You can call it whatever you want, right? And it gives you guidance to protect yourself and to help you. And then there's another force out there that tries to do the opposite. But the force is not there all the time. The force only comes and shows his face when you are experiencing a deep emotion. When you are experiencing a deep emotion. When you're angry, that's when the feelings come. When you are tired and exhausted and depressed or feeling depressed, that's when the thoughts come. You know what? Go eat that food. You deserve it. You know, who cares about that resolution? Who cares about those goals? You know, you deserve to relax right now. You know, you come home and your boss is like giving you a hard time, and maybe your check this week was short, and you get to your office and you're upset because you got bills due, and that voice comes because it sees that you're now angry. And the voice comes, you know, go in there and tell your boss what you really think. Go in there and let them know that you're not going to take this and quit this job. You don't need this job. Don't let them disrespect you. That's when the thoughts come. When you're angry, right? When you're feeling a deep emotion is when the thoughts come. The enemy, the spirit, evil spirits, they have no power over you, but they can come and prompt you to do certain things when you're experiencing a deep emotion. So we need to take control over our emotions. We need to try to take control and realize and understand that there's a force out there. There's a positive and then there's negative. You can call it yin and yang, call it whatever you want, but the negative exists. It exists, but it has no power over you. The only time it gets to you, the only time you start hearing those voices and prompts to do bad stuff, are when you are experiencing a deep emotion. People who are depressed, they're usually down, they're usually sad, and then the enemy, the spirit, will come and start whispering things into their mind. You ain't nothing. Look how old you are. You haven't achieved anything. You're worthless. No one likes you. That's when the voices come, when they're down. But when you're up, when you're excited, when everything is going well, that enemy, that spirit knows better. This is not a good time. Look at them. They're enjoying themselves. They're having a great time. I'll wait for them to be depressed. I'll wait for them to be hurt. I'll wait for them to be in some kind of pain. That's when I will come. If you understand that this force, this spirit, only has an effect on you when you're experiencing a deep emotion. The only times I've ever done anything wrong in my life were usually the times where I was experiencing deep emotion. You know, usually anger. An example could be like if you're driving, you know, with road rage, somebody cut you off and now you're angry, right? That's when that voice comes. You're going to let this person disrespect you? Who do they think they are? You know what I'm saying? Go out there and prove yourself. Show yourself. And now the enemy can prompt us. It can't get you to do nothing. It can't get you to commit no crime. It's not the devil. The devil made me do it. The devil can't make you do anything. He can prompt you and suggest ideas. And then depending on how you're feeling, you may submit to that. Depending on how you're feeling, you might submit to that. You understand? So I say all that to say this. Control, or try to have control over your emotions. The first thing is to be aware that there's two forces out there. Your subconscious mind, the good spirit, the Holy Spirit wants to protect you, wants to keep you, wants you to be safe, wants you to be healthy, wants you to thrive. This force wants to destroy you. Even in the Bible says the enemy, the spirit, the devil goes around like a roaring lion looking for whom he can devour. Picture a lion going around looking for whom he may devour. And he's following you and looking at you and waiting for you to experience a deep emotion so they can come give you prompts. And most of the times we fall into our prompts. Most of the times the prompts come and we just give into it because we're thinking it's coming from within. You may be asking yourself, why am I like this? Why am I like this? It's not you. These things are not within you. It's from the outside. It's an outside influence coming in towards you, and you can block that. You can recognize it and then block it. When the suggestions come during those times of deep emotions, you have to say, hold on, I'm feeling this particular emotion. Think of all the emotions. I'm feeling these particular emotions right now, and I feel like doing this. That's when you recognize that, no, I'm not going to allow that. I won't allow it. I'm going to remember that I'm feeling this deep emotion, and this enemy who wants to destroy me is prompting me to do these particular things, prompting me to feel this particular way. But nah, recognize these things, right? So the next time that you're angry, the next time that you are feeling a deep emotion, think about the things that you want to do and maybe don't do them. Think back into the past, write down about 5 emotions: anger, bitterness, hurt, whatever it is. Write down some emotions and try to remember the last time you felt those emotions and what did you do during those times, right? Did somebody ever hurt you? And did the prompt to hurt them back, get revenge? How dare them do so and so? I'll show them. Where did those thoughts come from? You were angry, the enemy came and began to plant these seeds of destruction. You got to be able to block those things. There's no evil within you. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't ever question, why am I like this? Why do I have these thoughts? Why me? It's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. It's the enemy. And he's coming to try to attack and infiltrate every brain on planet Earth. Every person on planet Earth, he wants to destroy you. But he can't. You know why? Because now you know the tools. Now you know that he exists. The greatest enemy's way to be able to successfully destroy you is for you to think that he doesn't exist. But he's a tiger. But he's a toothless tiger. He has no power over you. So remember, the enemy has no power over you. Regardless of how you're feeling, always remember that there's an evil spirit out there that wants to destroy you. And you have to be aware of him, understand that he's powerless, and you take your power back. Because it's not you. It's a force that's coming and trying to infiltrate, but you got to recognize that and take full force of your life. Take full force of your mind. Recognize this. Read Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. Read the book and try to have a better understanding of what's out there. It's a spiritual realm, right? People have done things in this world and we wonder, like, what prompted this person to do that? Like, were they crazy? No, they may not have been crazy, but they were experiencing a deep emotion, and then the devil came in and gave them suggestions. Why don't you just end your life? Why don't you just go punch that person? Why don't you just go take advantage of that thing? Why don't you go just take that money? You deserve it. Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go do that? Those prompts, they come from outside. They're not coming from within. So don't ever think that it's coming from within you. It's coming from outside, but you got to reject it and recognize it and then destroy it. So this is the idea. The idea is not to say that depression is not real. I'm not going to speak on that. I will never speak on that because I don't know. I can't speak on that. But what I am saying is that just consider the idea that it might not be real. Consider it. I'm not saying believe that's not real. Consider the idea that it might be an outside influence causing these thoughts, causing you to think about these particular things. Because the one thing that a human being has power over in his life is their mind. The only thing that you have complete control and power over is your mind. So as the thoughts come, try to consider the idea that, these thoughts may not be coming from me. There's nothing in me that's making me think these things, but it's outside influences because maybe I'm feeling very sad, right? The evil spirit knows they're sad right now. Let me come in and make some suggestions. Let me plan some. It's always there. It's always there. It's hard to explain because it's not visible. You can't see it, but it's there. It's whispering suggestions in your ear. You're nothing. You're worthless. You've achieved nothing. You will never achieve anything. No one likes you. And then depending on how you're feeling, and if you don't understand that he's there, you're going to accept this stuff. You're going to accept it because you're believing I'm nothing. Look at these thoughts I'm having. They're coming from within. I'm useless. I have no value. Because you don't know that it's not you. You don't understand that it's not you. But I'm here to tell you that it's not you. I'm here to tell you that it's an outside force coming and trying to attack and destroy. But recognize the enemy is coming. Recognize that the enemy exists. Recognize that he has no power over you. The most beautiful thing is to realize that it has zero power over you. Now that you're aware that he exists and he has no teeth. He's toothless. He's a toothless lion. Remember this. Use your mind. Read the book. Gain your freedom. Please share this video if you think someone out there can benefit from it. God bless.